Hello YouTube family, Denise in the Little Sewing Room. It's been a while and now I have for you a walkthrough, so to speak, of me making one of my signature dresses again. And this is the dress I'm going to show you. I purchased this fabric at the thrift store for $1.49 for 2 1/4 yards, 60 inches wide. It is a slate gray cotton with a lycra thread in it. It has a little bit of a stretch. I've got the dress all finished, but I want to show you the process that I use, how I get one of my signature dresses out of 2 1/4 yards. And normally it takes me about 3 yards to make the dress. So I'll show you my creative piecing technique. I'll let you see that I've extended the seams a little bit and added some creative piecing and a different type of facing. But all of it is so simple, so easy to do to create my look, and just accent it with some ethnic jewelry, or sometimes I just wear it very minimal with just the earrings or something. Alright, let me show you how I did it. Also, in the video, I'm going to tell you right down up front, I don't do my videos on one day. I do them over a course of days, so I change clothes and I continue to work. So you're seeing me how I sew, early in the morning and late at night. So this is the gray dress. Okay, YouTube family, so I was at the thrift store on yesterday, my husband and I found some really good deals, and one of them is I found this really nice piece of slate gray twill, but there's only like 2 1/4 yards, and on average my signature dress takes 3 yards. So I'm making one of my standard signature dresses, and I'm going to show you how I can use every bit of this 2 1/4 yards of material to get normally what takes 3 yards to do by some creative piecing. So I've got the first part laid out, and I've also added 2 inches at the bottom for length, because when I made this pattern, I thought I wanted to wear them shorter, then I wanted to wear them longer, Okay, so I'm going to cut that out. And then I'm going to show you how I relay to piece it. Now, I don't know if the piecing will be the front of the dress or the back of the dress. It doesn't matter because all pieces are cut exactly alike. So let me cut this out and take a few minutes and come back and show you how I am going to piece the rest of the fabric so I'll have enough. This is, oh, great deal. This cost me $1.98. Plus it was Senior's Day, so I got an additional 30% off. Tell me that wasn't a good deal. So, I'm going to pull this up on the table and go ahead and cut it out and be right back. Okay, so I have the top piece cut out with the extended sleeve. I'm just going to go ahead and cut that sleeve a little bit longer, and I extended it 2 inches. This is all I have left, this little piece in here, but I do have my waist here. And I made sure I kept the fold. So I cut all the open areas on the selvage side. That's a lot of yardage, and I'm going to take advantage of it. So what I'm going to do first is I want to get me a straight edge, because this is the hemline area of the dress, so slightly curved. And I'm going to just cut it straight, and I'm going to use the grid on the table here. Now get me a ruler. Use the grid on the table. My husband's trusty painter's ruler, for which I have confiscated. There we go. And I'm not going to cut all the way over, because I want the fold. I want to keep as much of that fold fabric as I possibly can. I'm going to go ahead and straighten it up. Just a little on this edge for a curve, and a wee bit right here. There we go. I'm going to lay the already cut piece onto the fabric. Make sure it is straight of grain. I'm not going to worry about any, I'll fold this down so you know what I'm talking about, adding seam allowance here on this piece that I'm going to cut off, because I'm going to piece everything and then lay the pattern back on, and the seam allowance will be already accounted for. So I'll lay this down just like this, straight up grain, all the way over, and go ahead and cut it out. I said this is a slate gray, sort of a denim twill. It's got a little lycra in it, and that'll make it comfortable to wear. It'd be great for the fall, early spring, but might be a little too warm for summer. My scissors are cutting like through butter. They're so nice and sharp. Just recently had them sharpened at our local fabric store. Not a big box fabric store. This is like a mom and pop's fabric store. And I went in there with a bag full of left-handed scissors for the gentleman to cut, and he said, "Left-handed?" I said, "Yes, they're all left-handed." So which meant he had to switch the blade, the sharpening stone around so he could cut it. And that's why I told him I came extra early, because I knew he probably wouldn't get a lot more left-handed scissors in, and he wouldn't have to keep switching his blade around. And he was nice enough to do the scissors, sharpen them all for me, and get them right back to me. Okay, so I have it cut, and if I fold this back, I can see how much fabric I'll need to go across to make a design. Now this could be the front or the back, and noting the position is so high up on the bust, it's definitely going to be the back. I don't want a line. I wouldn't want a line crossing my torso or my upper torso where this will put a line. Here's what I have to work with. Let me take it out. Like I said, I have this section. When I open it, oh, that's almost going to do it. And I have this section. So I could probably get all that I need. And what I'm doing is I am taking this waist and I'm laying it over the pattern that I have and trying to get an idea of how much I need to piece. Do I need to cut? Cut. And that's how you do it. Yeah. I think I think what I like is the 3 cuts out of this. Save this section for bias and maybe some pockets. So I'm going to cut this right here, just like that. Set this waist aside. Take this piece and start getting what and turn it into one big piece. This is what I call the easiest way to do it. I'm just going to fold it over, leaving what I would consider seam allowance at both ends. I'm going to fold it back so you can see what I've done. I'll fold it into about even thirds, so just make it. I folded my waist into even thirds. And if I was to set this right here, you can see it's bigger than this section that I want to cover, account for. And it's going to be longer. I'm going to just piece it all together. So I'll just cut my thirds on those folds. Slide this out of the way. Now, the main thing I want to keep in is I want to keep these grays all going in the same direction because there is a bit of a nap on this fabric. This curve right here is where the sleeve was. So that is the top of my fabric is here, the neckline, and the hemline is here. So if I lay this piece right here, turn it that way, I just took this one off because I folded it up. There. And then this one will join here. Or like, yeah. So I'm going to piece all of this together, and I'm going to get one seam, two seams, a total of 6 seams all together. And I'm going to piece it all together so I get enough to, and here we go, create, bam, this part of the dress. Alrighty, I am back, and I've pieced together the waist fabric, 3 seams, flat filled. I'm going to go ahead and lay it down and position it where I want it to be on the dress, on the portion of my pattern. I haven't decided if it's front or back yet. That's a good thing. And I'm going to position it where I know I won't get too much seam overlap. I am going to have 4 seams overlap in the front, and I'll show you how that's done with all that extra bow. But I'll put the right side, the wrong sides together, and I'm going to go ahead and flat fill these seams. I want to move this over as much as I can. Let me see. So that I eliminate as much waste as possible and get what I need. Dun, 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 dun. Nope, I don't like that. And what I'm looking at is this flat fill seam is so close to this edge, it's going to be a bit of bulky, so I can move it over just a wee bit. Now that's where I'm going to put it. And I'm going to check that. There. This is all spontaneous sewing, and with my signature dress, it's very easy. What I'm doing is simply laying the pattern that I use as a guide on top of the other one, bringing it up, and I'm just trying to find out where these seams are going to fall so that they won't cause a lot of bulk when I get ready to put the garment together. And making sure, now see what I just did to myself? I have not got enough for that full sleeve length. Let me try something. Let me try a little flip. Flip, flip, flip. Yeah, let's try and see if I can flip it. Move it over as much as possible. Yeah, that'll work. That's it. I'm going to flip the pieces. Take them and flip them just like that. And because I flipped them, I might get what I call a little color variance, because there is, like I said, a nap on this fabric. And so I can get a little color variance because I turned something upside down. But because I'm piecing, I'll let it be part of the design feature. What I'm going to do now is just straight edge this up. And instead of using my rotary cutter on this one because it's way across the floor, I'm going to just mark it with my chalk and cut it with the scissors that are sitting right here. Now I have a straight edge to work with. There we go. Okay. Check it out again. Check the placement just by pulling this up. Oh, yeah. Yep. Looks good. Looks good, looks good, looks good. So, what I do is simply bring this piece down like that and bring the other piece down the opposite. So I have wrong side, wrong side, wrong side, wrong side, and I want the seam to go down, so when I go to the machine to stitch it, I'm going to stitch from the top piece that I added on, so I'll have the best part of my seam, my threaded seam, finish on the top of my fabric. Okay, and line that up real good. And I can go ahead and put a 5/8 seam, because I'll lay it down and cut it out and know that I have it right. Pins. So let me go and do that, and do the flat fell seam for this portion, and come back and show you how I'm going to do it. And I know it's going to be bulky right there in that center front where these two seams overlap. So my brain is thinking right now how I'm going to compensate or not. All right, I have completed one piecing section. Let me just show you how that looks. This is the section that I pieced onto the dress and the top. Flat fell seams. Flat fell seams. So this will be the outer part. Let you see that flat fell seam nice and tight. There you go. So that's going to be the outer part of the garment. That's just one. And simple, easy. Here it is, not pressed. Body of the dress, top portion. Top portion. And I did my stitching on the top side where you see the original flat fell seam. Give me a minute here. I'm going to trim that seam allowance on the underside down to about half the amount. So I have trimmed it down half the amount. That's the waist. And I will fold and steam press that down so that I can top stitch it very easily. I've pressed it under. That seam allowance, cut it, trimmed the underside, pressed it under. And now I'll stitch it flat. Give me a moment, I'll stitch that flat. And then I'll bring it back, put the two pieces together, cut them as one using my other pattern shape as my guide. Alright, so I have pieced it together on the top there the way I want it. And I've laid it out and matched it back up. I have wrong side to wrong side. I've laid the original one that I cut out first over the top. And all I have to do now is simply go in and recut this top portion. So let me do that right quick. I've got a thick set right here. And the neckline. Underarm. If you hear a bit of hammering and woodworking, my husband's in the other room and he's building his new desk. So he knows I'm taping, and I told him, oh, nobody minds the noise. Just do what you got to do. So we both got to get our crafting on while the sun is shining. So he's building a new desk, and I'm taking my thrifted fabric and making me a new dress. Okay, I've got that nicely trimmed. Oh, lean way over and trim. Okay, I got in the video there. Alrighty, I can unpin this paper pattern. Sometimes I do my sleeves a little differently, and I'll do the little gathered cuff on the sleeve that I have been doing, but I didn't do it on this one because the material is just a little thicker. And so I'm just going to do a fold back. I don't have to worry about the wrong side of fabric, that sort of thing. Okay. Simply unpin. Fold up my trusty universal pattern. This is getting pretty well worn, but when it gets really worn out, I'll just get some newspaper or paper I'll scavenge from someplace else and make me another one. Alright. So, I can do this one of two ways. I have this piece front and I have a non-piece back. But if I like, since everything's exactly the same, I can straddle them. And which I think I will do for just something different. Yes. I'll take it and I'll put a piece front and a non-piece side. And so it'll be the opposite. And that way, I won't have the thickness of those 4 seams that I would have to work with. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take right side and right side together. Woohoo! Just like that. And I think I'll piece it so that the bulky seam will be what I'll fold under and top stitch. So normally I stitch up from the hemline up, but for fashion's sake, I'm going to stitch down because I want my top thread to be the thread that's going to show. So I'm going to pin this one. I'm pinning a little below because I am going to stay stitch this neckline. I always like to stay stitch the neckline before I put my facing on there. Now pin that. All the way down. When I get that one pinned. And then I'm going to take the other one and right sides together. There we go. And put it with that one. So it'll be opposites. So I'll have some piecing on the back and piecing on the front. But the difference is on this one, I'll have to stitch from the hemline to the neck edge. Because here again, I want the top thread to be on the top of my design of my flat fell stitch because it is usually the better looking of the seam finishes. So I'll get those pinned and stitch them and get ready to get it put together. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay, and as I said on this one, I'm going to stay stitch the necks first, and I'm thinking of what type of neck finish I want to do. Usually I'll do a bias band, but this one I want to do a facing. So once I get this stitched together, I'm going to lay it on my waist fabric, and I've got a nice bit of waist fabric because I haven't decided if I'm going to do pockets. I'll lay that on there and cut my facings. Be right back with this seam also. So I flat filled the center front seam of one. And I flat filled the center front seam on the other, and I just noticed a mark on this material I didn't see. I'm going to have to cover it up. Okay. So, as you can see by the design, I have pattern, solid, pattern, solid. So it would be sort of off-centered, doing an offside design. That's going to be nice. So what I'm going to do now is take a bit of the waist that I had, because I still have this much fabric left over. Take that, and I'm going to make the neck facing. And I'm going to do that real simple, is by leaving this piece of fabric folded. Lay it on my table and lay my pattern on top. giving me about 1, 2, 3 inches from the bottom edge, 3 inches from the bottom edge. I'll put half on there, and it's really easy to do because there's the center seam there. Oops, there we go. And I'll just trace it. And that'll give me a facing. I'm going to do the shoulder. Go all the way across. Oh, a little more than 3 inches. I'll cut out the facing. Around. Beneath. And I'm going to freehand cut the curve, the outside curve. And I'll move this down and cut a second one. Here we go. I still have enough waist for pockets if I like to make pockets. I'm not sure. I really don't like pockets on my dresses. So, but other people who use the pattern, they like pockets. They put pockets in. Everybody's happy. And I'll just open these two out. And I'm going to put right sides together. And do a 5/8 seam across each shoulder edge. There we go. And press those seams open, and I'll finish the outer edge with my serger and be ready to apply it once I have my shoulder seam stitched. I'm going to flat fill the shoulder seams of my garment also, so when I roll back there's no raw edges showing. So I'll simply put wrong sides of fabric together. Now, I told you I just saw a spot on this material, and this material has been washed and dried. I washed it, I machine dried it. I thought I got any stains out of it. Where'd it go? I saw it. Okay. There it is, right there. Right here, I have a stain. And it's really not so noticeable, so I am going to use this for the front of the garment. So if that's a stain there and I want to add something, I can add a little creative applique or a brooch, or I won't even worry about it. I'm going to pin it. I'm going to stitch it from the back so I have the best type of stitching on the top, and do a flat fill seam. Pin, I'll go to the machine and bring it back after I've got it stitched and the flat fill seams in place. The dress is totally finished now. When I say totally finished, I mean totally finished. I've got flat fill seams, all of the seams, side, center front, and the piecing seams. I've chosen to do a faced neckline, and then I'm going to turn it inside out and let you see that the inside is just as nice as the outside. Here we go. And voila. No exposed seams. The only areas where I have some exposed seam edges are the end of the neck facing where I have serged it. And I also, to eliminate a lot of bulk, I serged and folded up 3/4 of an inch on the hemline. So that's a serged edge, and the same is a serged edge and hemline of the sleeve. But flat fell. So, well, YouTube family, the gray dress is completely done, and I've worn it a couple of times, and I've washed it, and I'm loving it. Today, it's a stay-at-home day, so I've just got it with one of my infinity scarves that I created from a thrifted piece of fabric, some earrings, and the regular jewelry that I wear when I'm sewing around the house. It is great to wear. Doesn't wrinkle a lot, and I guess that's because of that lycra in it. But what I don't really like about my signature dress, this one, is I don't like the way I lengthen the sleeves. So what I'm probably going to do is go back in and cut that 3 inches off so that it rolls up a little higher. I just cannot abide having my arms covered. So I hope you enjoyed this video of how I took 2 1/4 yards, created my signature dress, which normally costs for 3 yards, did some creative piecing, and salvaged something. So that was $1.98 for the 2 1/4 yard, and I forgot to mention that was on a Tuesday, and Tuesdays you get a 30% discount. So don't forget to like and subscribe and tell others about Denise in the Little Sewing Room, and be on the lookout for my next video in which I am working on intimate apparel. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.